The Democrats, they're having a very difficult time trying to spin all these stories, because it's becoming so hard for them to convince the people that Trump and Elon are doing a bad thing. Must be hard to be a Democrat right now. You have to be against good health, support corruption, support war, oppose free speech, promote high taxes, support gun control, and want open borders. It's difficult to be a Democrat right now. No one is going along with this. Yeah, maybe the far left, but most people absolutely not. Now, what's very interesting is, it looks like we found the first individual that is getting a kickback and lives at TikTok. Put this out and said, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse backed legislation that funneled millions to his wife's environmental nonprofit Ocean Conservancy. She's been paid nearly $2.7 million while the group raked in $14.2 million plus in federal grants funded by bills White House voted for. Now, in ethics, Watchdog is calling for investigation into this blatant corruption. Elon says it's always the spouse. Now think about it. These individuals, they set up certain NGOs, foundations, it's funneled into the family members. And what's very interesting, this reminds me of Post 3383, this is July 8, 2019. On top, it says US taxpayer are paying for it all. Paris Accord scam, Red Cross scam, billions, foreign aid scam, trillions, war, equal scam, trillions. Who audits where the money actually goes? Nobody does. Who actually receives the money? The family members. And then down below it says this. Imagine what would happen if by law, every US Congress, men, woman, US Senator, President, etc., was by US law, audited every 1 to 2 years by independent agency. Imagine what would happen if those audits extended to all family members of such elected officials. Would these continue to push for foreign aid to other seas versus the homeland? What happened when the kickbacks dry up? Look at Maxine Waters, $4 million house Nancy Pelosi worth over $150 million Joe Biden, some brother, network tens of millions Clinton over $200 million Obama over $100 million disguised underbook deals, or money just filtered into their foundations and NGOs. You name it. So this post is starting to make a lot more sense now that we see where all this money is flowing. And we can see this is why the Ds continually are out there saying it's a threat to democracy. Why? Because democracy is their keyword that they use to cover up what they're really doing. The Line Hunter put this out and says security and democracy may sound vague, but as the ultimate bat signal for individuals and groups alike to identify where to go to get what they want. Data Republicans it exactly. Democracy is their dog whistle. Whenever you hear the word used in a way that doesn't quite fit, such as claim that Trump is a threat to democracy, mentally replace it with NGOs. The message will suddenly make a lot more sense, or replace it with criminal syndicate. So when you hear Trump is a threat to NGOs, or Trump is a threat to their criminal syndicate, it makes a lot more sense. Doesn't it? Very interesting. And you can see that the people, they're all for Elon, Doge and everything that Trump is doing. But you can see Representative Jerry Connolly, he's trying to convince people that know that people aren't with him. And this is what he said. This country is fed up with their wrecking ball Elon Musk and Donald Trump are taking to essential government services. Federal agencies need to regain order right now by telling employees they do not have to respond to Elon Musk's absurd email. Rapper Response 47 said, "Stop lying, Jerry. 77% of Americans support a full examination of all government expenditures. 72% agree there should be a government agency focus on efficiency. 70% say government is filled with waste, fraud and inefficiency. 2/3 say Congress should join the effort." And this is coming from a Harvard Caps Harris poll from February 19th to February 20th of 2025. So these people are lying, the people are all for it. And they want to get rid of fraud, waste. And they want to see where the money is actually going. They want to see the true treasonous criminals. And I do believe in the end, as Elon and team goes deeper and deeper and deeper, this is what we're going to see. Now you can see the deep play players, they love to lie, and they like to put out fake articles. And this is coming out of the Financial Times. It says White House officials push to axe Canada from Five Eyes intelligence group. Well, Panino Varro sets the record straight and says the White House official and the Financial Times story that is allegedly pushing to have Canada kicked out of the Five Eyes. Well, the story is wrong. And it's crazy stuff. He says we would never ever jeopardize our national security with allies like Canada. So they like to do this. But again, in the past, the fake news would have controlled the narrative. But with Truth, with X, with Rumble, with other platforms, it's becoming very difficult. Remember, the fake news doesn't control the narrative anymore. Actually, there are no longer the news. We the people are the news. And you can see they're having a very difficult time maintaining the narrative. It's failing every single time. Now, the other thing that's really interesting is we could see that Trump and team, and it's not just Elon. It's Pete Hegseth. It's going to be Tulsi Gabbard. We're going to see Kristi Noem, Kash Patel. They're all going to be cutting their agencies and saving the American people a lot of money. And you can see already Pete Hegseth, he is now considering eliminating the US Africa Command to reduce DoD costs. George put this out and said, doing so would instantly save approximately $500 million, allow the withdrawal of US troops. And that is absolutely incredible. Now the other thing that's very odd is that Trump, we know that he's not going to start World War III. Actually, he's a peacemaker, and he pushes peace through strength. He's not a warmonger, but Iran has put its defense system around its nuclear sites and high alert atmospheres of an attack by Israel and the US. Why would Trump want to start World War III, unless Iran is prepared to do something, which means the deep state is prepared to do something. But let's see how that plays out. That's going to be very interesting. Now the other thing, and very interesting, is that we could see the peace talks are going very well with Putin. Zelensky really doesn't matter at this point, and actually you could see he really doesn't matter. But George, again, once put this out and said, Putin says Russia is ready to supply the United States with 2 million tons of aluminum, which will help stabilize prices. The US is the largest importer of aluminum. This will help drive down the cost of so many things. Now think about it, Zelensky, he's doing the opposite of what Putin is agreeing to, and it looks like Zelensky, he's already bent a knee. Charlie Kirk put this out and said, Ukraine has agreed to President Trump's request mineral rights deal with the U.S. as compensation for the hundreds of billions of dollars America has invested. Kiev will contribute 50% of future mineral revenue to a joint fund. The deal comes without security guarantees. So, Zelensky heading to the White House for the signing the art of the deal. So right there, he folded. See, he's part of the deep state, he's part of the system, and once again, he's a dictator. We'll be talking about that in just a sec. But the other thing that's really interesting, and Spetsna 007 put this out and says, the UN Security Council voted on a swift end to the conflict in Ukraine, and urged a lasting peace between Ukraine and the Russian Federation. And it looks like Russia and America, they both voted in favor of peace. Now that is very interesting. But when you look out in Ukraine, you can see Zelensky, he doesn't want to have elections. So, what happened? Visograd24 put this out and said, the Ukrainian parliament passes a resolution affirming Zelensky's legitimacy and the constitutionality mandated requirement that keeps him in power throughout the duration of the war due to the martial law. So they voted to keep him in power, and they didn't have an election whatsoever. Elon says, hold an election, and once again, he should hold an election. Now, when Trump was sitting with Macron in the White House, a reporter asked Trump, is Putin a dictator? And Trump refuses to call Putin a dictator. And the reporter said, well, you called Zelensky a dictator. Would you use the same words regarding Putin? Trump says, I don't use those words lightly. So remember, Zelensky cancelled his elections. So what is a dictator actually? What makes a dictator? Well, first, a dictator often centralizes control. Actually, when I talk about this, think about our government. I'm talking about the tyrannical government, and think of Zelensky, think of Putin, and tell me which you think fits into the dictator category. So let me just begin. First, the dictator often centralizes control, sideline checks and balances. They might weaken legislators or courts. Think stacking judges with loyalists or pushing laws that give them unchecked authority, like emergency decrees that never end. Second, they suppress dissent. Free speech gets hammered. Media is censored or taken over. Critics are jailed or they disappear. Third, elections turn into theater. They might hold votes, but results are rigged, or opponents are disqualified, or there are no elections. Fifth, personnel enrichment, a red flag. They and their inner circle family cronies start raking in wealth while the country's resources get drained. 6. They erode rights over time. Freedoms like assembly, religion or property get chipped away under pretext like security or order. Finally, cult of personality. They plaster their face everywhere, rewrite history to glorify themselves, demand loyalty, oaths. So think about this for a second. What was the tyrannical government in this country? Were we heading in that direction? Yeah. We were. Is Zelensky a dictator? Absolutely. Thanks again for stopping by and supporting our channel. Today is a new era, a new age, and we are entering into a new future where America is first and you and your family is first. Click the like button, and until we meet again. Bye.